will be one of the storms people always remember.
Hurricane Ian makes landfall.
This is absolutely by far the worst storm I have ever seen.
Significant storm surge, turning roads into rivers.
And we're actually seeing cars and boats float down the street.
Powerful winds damaging buildings and knocking out power to more than 1 million people.
Hurricane Ian now making landfall, and the wind is just ripping across Tampa Bay.
Tonight, we're bringing you the latest from the ground as this powerful storm sits over the Sunshine State.
And we start with the latest on Hurricane Ian and its path of destruction across the state of Florida. This is a live look from Daytona Beach, which is under a tornado watch as Ian makes its way to Florida's Atlantic coast.
Ian made landfall this afternoon in southwest Florida, bringing with it an epic storm surge and winds topping 100 miles per hour.
And tonight, more than 2 million people are without power, and officials say the city of Fort Myers is almost entirely in the dark.
And while Ian is weakening as it moves further inland, officials say its impacts will be felt for weeks.
So we want to give you perspective on just how big this storm is. Satellite images show the eye of the storm as Ian made landfall, and that 30-mile wide eye is roughly the same size as the Twin Cities in Minnesota.
Let's get to tonight's team coverage. Chief Meteorologist Mike Nelson will have the latest on Ian's track in a moment. But first, let's go to ABC's Morgan Norwood on the ground in Tampa.
Jessica, and yes, Hurricane Ian still bringing some pretty heavy impacts here with this heavy rain and wind at times, some pretty strong gusts. At times I've really had to kind of brace myself here. Millions tonight still under watches and warnings as this storm continues to move up the Florida coast. I want to give you a sense of some of the damage that we've been seeing from the past couple of hours here. Southwest Florida bearing the brunt of the storm, of course, landfall happening just a short time ago. Reports of catastrophic storm surge, what officials and forecasters had really been warning about all week long. Sanibel Island, that's happening there. Reports of boats completely washed away. In South Florida, at least 5 tornadoes. That is still a risk and a threat right now as we speak. And then there was flooding down in Key West. People, they're wading through waist-deep waters. And then we have the heavy winds. You can hear it right now in my microphone, still whipping at this hour. Gusts in Naples, get this, as high as 112 miles per hour. At one point, 152. That was when the storm was at its highest peak. Category 4 winds. Overall, the storm creating a path of destruction across Florida here. More than 2 million power outages. And
yeah, it's incredible. And so, Morgan, have conditions noticeably changed between the time when Hurricane Ian made landfall and tonight where you are in Tampa?
Yeah, and it's been pretty interesting here. You know, I honestly think, and I was talking to one of our meteorologists about this, I kind of feel like things have gotten a little bit worse at times, even though the storm has weakened significantly, now teetering between maybe a category 1 or 2, but we have had some intense wind gusts, and that's really been the main thing for us here in Tampa. The wind, the heavy rain, also getting in on a little bit of that storm surge. But of course, as day breaks tomorrow, we'll get a better sense of the damage here in Tampa and the surrounding areas. And
that is incredible to watch. Thank you.
And just take a look at this video captured by hurricane hunters flying into Hurricane Ian, knocked around by extreme turbulence. One of those on board describing it as the roughest flight of his career, saying he'd never experienced that much lateral turbulence or seen that much lightning. Chief Meteorologist Mike Nelson joining us now. And Mike, what conditions is Ian causing right now, and where is it heading next?
Imagine a jet engine roaring not just for a moment like in a tornado, but for hour after hour. That's the sound that people are hearing and continue to in Florida tonight as that storm is roaring through there. That is the tornado watch that's in effect as the swirling winds around the storm can inspire rotating thunderstorms that can cause tornadoes. This is the path expected over the next 2 days. It will go back out into the Atlantic and then come on shore near Charleston, and the rainfall is going to be incredible, anywhere from 5 to 20 inches of rain causing extreme flooding conditions. It will slowly weaken. We do expect the heavy rain to continue. The storm will hit across the southeast, and the damage from this will be in the billions of dollars.
Thank you, Mike. Volunteers from all over the country are on the ground in Florida, ready to help assist with recovery efforts. A group of 8 volunteers with the Colorado Red Cross arrived in Orlando Sunday. After Ian moves out of the area, those volunteers will help with providing shelter, food, and emotional support. So if you would like to help, the Red Cross is taking donations online.
Meanwhile, an army of utility trucks from across the nation is en route to Florida to help restore power to the more than 2 million people going without tonight. Xcel Energy is among the companies sending support to Florida. The company says 270 workers are on their way, including some from Colorado and New Mexico.
Well, Denver 7 will continue to monitor Ian and its impacts overnight. We'll have the very latest starting at 4:30 a.m. on Denver 7 mornings and on Denver7.com, as well as on the Denver 7 Plus app.
A substitute teacher who used to work at a daycare in Colorado is in custody in Missouri, accused of molesting a child and sending graphic videos of himself to a student.
As Denver 7's Bayan Wang is learning, at least 2 parents had concerns before he left Colorado.
With no previous criminal history, 42-year-old Jason Lee Carey, a substitute teacher in Belton, Missouri, made it through the screening process and was able to work with middle school students. Last week, police arrested Carey after an 8th grader reported receiving inappropriate pictures from him. According to a probable cause statement, police learned that Carey allegedly sent several graphic videos of himself to at least 1 student through Snapchat this month and allegedly molested a child under 12. After some digging, Denver 7 found that months prior to this latest incident, Carey lived in Colorado. We learned he worked for the Douglas County School District a few years ago before he was employed at Stonegate KinderCare, where he worked with Brittany Powers.
It was always weird from the beginning.
Powers said the two started dating between 2018 and 2019, which only lasted a few months.
If I blocked him on one social media platform, he'd reach out on another. If I blocked him on those, then he would find or create fake profiles and reach out to me that way.
In February of this year, Powers claims Carey crossed the line, alleging he sent a box of condoms to her home addressed to her then 13-year-old daughter.
So I went to Aurora Police Department. I tried to file something about the condoms being sent to my underage daughter.
APD confirms Powers filed a police report for harassment and stalking, but that the case is now inactive. Denver 7 asked APD if police ever contacted Carey about the matter, but did not receive a response. Denver 7 also heard from another Colorado parent. While she never went to police about what her daughter reportedly saw on social media, she did reach out to us, wanting to warn others. Denver 7 heard from both of Carey's previous employers in Colorado. Both Douglas County School District and KinderCare say they are aware of the charges he now faces, KinderCare adding they have no reports of inappropriate behavior from his time there. Bayan Wang, Denver 7.
Authorities in Nepal say they have recovered the body of U.S. extreme skier Hillary Nelson. Nelson went missing Monday after falling on Manaslu, the world's 8th tallest mountain. Nelson lived in Telluride and was the captain of the North Face athletic team, with a career spanning 2 decades. Her body is being taken to Nepal's capital for an autopsy.
Colorado voters are now under 6 weeks away from heading to the polls for the midterm elections. Down in Pueblo tonight, Democratic Governor Jared Polis and Republican challenger Heidi Ganahl met face-to-face on the debate stage. And among the issues the two sparred over tonight, public safety.
I will replace the parole board. I will stop our sanctuary status and allow ICE to do their job and law enforcement. I will appoint tough judges. I will declare a state of emergency on fentanyl and clean up this state.
Look, if I'm reelected your governor, we have a track record of getting things done. And I will come before you 4 years from now and we'll talk about how we move Colorado from 21st in violent crime to one of the 10 lowest states for violent crime.
With the general election approaching, we do have some dates to keep in mind. The Colorado Secretary of State's office says October 17th is the first day that mail-in ballots can be sent to voters, and Election Day is November 8th. And new tonight, a grassroots political party known as Emerge Colorado is giving us a new perspective ahead of the elections. In a poll held in July, about 400 registered voters ranked the housing crisis as their top issue in the Denver mayor's race. A solid majority also said it is personally important to have more women in elected office. The collected data also showed over half of voters are undecided on the Denver mayor's race, and no candidate is earning more than 7% of the vote. That election is in April.
A paper shortage is driving up the cost to print election ballots. In Denver, the elections department says the price of ballots and envelopes is up 13%. The price of those I voted stickers also up 22%. Even the cost for the voter guide is up.
In 2020, we were looking at $800,000 to print all the ballots for the city and county of Denver. This year, we're well over 1 million.
Elections officials say they were able to order their paper products early enough that your ballots will be on time. But if the paper shortage continues, it could cost taxpayers more in the future.
2 men will spend the rest of their lives in prison for a double shooting at an RTD bus stop. And tonight, we hear from the family of one of their victims.
Providing valuable skills.
Made me feels good. I want to help people, so many people, to be better, to be good.
How a Colorado nonprofit is helping young people living with autism as they transition into adulthood.
Plus, trying to right the ship. The Broncos will look to get their offense on track in Las Vegas.
My name is Cindy de la Torre. My roots are from Jalisco, Mexico, and the reason why I celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month is to celebrate family and, most importantly, our contributions to the entire community as a whole.